I want you to picture a Venn diagram in your mind right now.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Right, so in the first circle, you have ancient Norse mythology, goddess worship, and the frozen mythic landscapes of Midgard.
Which is the realm of humanity in Norse lore, just for context.
Exactly. Then in the second circle, you have underground boom-bap hip-hop, multi-syllabic rap verses, and maybe some smoky 1950s lounge jazz.
That is already quite the mix.
It is. And then in the third, seemingly unrelated circle, you have deep sleep science, healing audio frequencies, and the highly analytical psychology of Carl Jung.
Right, so we're looking at a pretty bizarre overlap here.
Bizarre is the word. Now, what could possibly sit at the tiny, almost invisible intersection of those three wildly different worlds? Today, the mission of our deep dive is to explore exactly that. We're looking at a single, highly specific corner of the internet. It's a YouTube channel called Sisters of Freya, also known as the Shieldmaidens of Subinac.
It really is a digital universe unto itself. When you look at the source material we've gathered on this channel, we're not just looking at a creator uploading a few themed songs.
Right.
We are looking at a sprawling, deeply intricate ecosystem that someone has painstakingly built from the ground up.
And the sheer scale of it is, well, it's what first catches your attention.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking about a channel page with a staggering 380 highly produced videos.
But there's a massive catch there.
A huge catch. Despite this vast library of content, the channel only has about 100 subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah, it is this massive hidden digital world that almost no one actually knows about. And when you see that kind of mismatch between output and audience, okay, let's unpack this. Because it tells you there's a completely different motivation at play here. This clearly isn't someone chasing the algorithm or trying to go viral.
Not at all. It reads as a deeply personal, almost protective project. When you analyze the content, you realize this isn't just a music channel in the traditional sense. It functions more like a lifestyle ecosystem built for a very specific type of psychological need.
Yeah, they have a very specific target audience in mind, don't they?
They do. In several of their video titles and descriptions, they refer to their audience directly as tired warriors and old souls. They are essentially providing an antidote to modern burnout, but they are doing it through an incredibly idiosyncratic, highly tailored lens.
That phrase, tired warriors, really stuck out to me in the sources. I think anyone listening right now can probably relate to that feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you close your laptop after 8 back-to-back Zoom meetings, your brain is completely fried, the news cycle's exhausting, and you just feel depleted. So let's define the space this channel is trying to create using their own words.
Let's hear it.
The channel describes itself as a healing sanctuary of sound, feminine, mythic, and ethereal. It says it's born from the ancient lineage of seers and shieldmaidens, and that their music blends ambient frequencies to soothe the soul, awaken memory, and restore inner light.
Which is quite the promise.
Right. And when you scroll through the video list, you see this heavy focus on mental health, anxiety relief, and what they explicitly call a nervous system reset.
Yes, the restorative aspect is placed front and center. You see video titles like Norse Therapeutics, Volume 1, 30-Minute Deep Nervous System Reset,
A great title.
which is subtitled as a guided meditation for anxiety relief. Then you have things like Freya Protector, 10-minute healing meditation with visual timer. The creator is taking the overwhelming, chaotic energy of the modern world and offering you a highly structured, mythically themed safe haven to decompress.
And the commitment to this sleep and recovery science is intense. I was looking at the run times on some of these videos.
Well, they're massive.
They are.
Yeah.
We aren't talking about 3-minute ambient tracks to play while you make coffee. We're looking at massive 10-hour and 11-hour sleepscapes.
It's hard to even wrap your head around that.
There's a 10-hour video called Indigo Dreams 3, The Deep North Sleeps. There's another one that is 10 hours and 1 minute long called 10-hour 528 hertz healing frequency Canadian wilderness sleep music. And there's an 11-hour video called Thalia Norse Healing Sleep Music.
Just from a logistical standpoint,
The rendering.
Exactly. The amount of rendering time, processing power, and literal hard drive space it takes to upload an 11-hour audio-visual file to YouTube is massive.
It would take days on a normal computer. And some of these have maybe 60 views.
Looking at the science they claim to integrate, what's fascinating here is how the channel blends pseudoscientific audio therapy with these ancient mythic archetypes. You mentioned the 528 hertz frequency in that one title.
Right. What is the deal with that specific number?
Well, in alternative audio therapy, 528 Hz is a very specific, purportedly miracle frequency. Proponents claim it can repair DNA and soothe severe anxiety. Now, whether or not you buy into the clinical validity of that acoustic science, by pairing that modern frequency concept with the ancient Norse pantheon, the channel is essentially using the old gods as modern therapists for your nervous system.
That is such an interesting way to look at it.
You aren't just listening to sterile white noise generated by an app. You are being guided into deep rest by Sophia or by Air, the Norse goddess of healing.
It creates a really interesting dual-layered comfort. It appeals to the part of you that wants a biological, frequency-based solution to your stress, but it also feeds the part of you that craves narrative comfort.
Yeah,
We want a story. We want a protective mythic figure standing guard while we sleep.
exactly.
You've got videos like Arctic Deep Sleep, 528 Hour Science by Sophia, Emotional Soul Healing. It's incredibly soothing on paper. But I have to play devil's advocate here, because just as you settle into this being a pure, ethereal, new age meditation channel,
Here comes the pivot.
there is a wild, whiplash-inducing shift in tone. Suddenly, the great hall of fallen warriors, Valhalla, meets underground hip-hop.
It is quite the pivot from ambient sleep science.
I mean, we have to acknowledge how completely absurd this looks when you first scroll past it. You're looking at 10 hours of celestial sleep music, and sitting right next to it is a video titled Thora 100 Bar, Multisyllabic Rap Monster, Insane Lyrical Barrage, a Light Underground Hip-Hop Verse.
It really jumps out at you.
And if that wasn't jarring enough, there's Shaolin meets Valhalla Boom Bap Blades and Viking Sagas, and another one called Kunoichi Blade, the Shadow Mythic Ninja rap beat. For context, Boom Bap is that gritty, heavy kick drum and snare hip-hop style that dominated the 90s.
Right.
And here it is, sitting right next to a gentle track called Air's Healing at Midwinter. So I have to ask, is this a deliberate, cohesive ecosystem? Or is this just a creator who literally cannot pick a lane and is throwing every single one of their hobbies at the wall?
It's a fair question because it looks incredibly chaotic at first glance. But looking closely at the overarching theme, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this genre clash actually makes perfect psychological sense within the world they've built.
Really? How so?
Well, the channel isn't just about passive relaxation, it is equally about active empowerment. Think about the duality of human experience.
Right.
We absolutely need rest, which is where Air, the goddess of healing and recovery, comes into play. But we also have to face the real world.
That is very true.
We have to wake up, go to our demanding jobs, deal with conflicts, and push through physical exertion. That requires a completely different kind of energy. It requires warrior energy.
The Shieldmaiden energy, that aggressive, forward-moving momentum.
Precisely. So the channel deliberately shifts from the soft, ethereal healing of a seer to the sharp, aggressive energy of a ninja or a Viking warrior. The boom-bap, hip-hop beats serve as a modern battle rhythm.
It actually makes a lot of sense when you frame it that way.
It's built for the listener who has finished their 10-hour, 528 Hz sleepscape, woke up, and now needs to conquer their day. You see this explicitly defined in videos like the Sisters of Freya 1-hour Norse Goddess Workout Mega Mix, which is subtitled Treadmill, Cycling, and Rowing Motivation. They are providing the soundtrack for the recovery, yes, but they are also providing the soundtrack for the battle.
It really is a full-service channel for the psyche. You've got Sisters of Valhalla, dark hip-hop beat, Norse Valkyrie energy. You've got a video called Seiðr Circuitry, Norse hip-hop, rap, boom-bap ritual.
And Seiðr is a fascinating pull from the mythology.
It really is. Seiðr, by the way, is a type of ancient Norse magic associated with predicting and shaping the future, and they are combining it with circuitry and boom-bap hip-hop. And the sources note that it's not just generic beats either, it's genuine lyrical prowess.
Yes, the technical skill is definitely there.
That Thora video with the 100-bar multisyllabic rap monster tells you that whoever is behind this is deeply invested in the technical, intricate craft of underground rap. They aren't just tossing a basic drum loop over a stock photo of a Viking. They care about the syllables, the rhyming schemes, the actual art of the genre.
And maintaining that level of technical investment across so many wildly different genres is highly unusual for online content. Most creators are told to niche down.
Constantly.
They pick one thing. Either they are a lo-fi hip-hop channel or they are a guided meditation channel. By refusing to choose, the creator is insisting on bringing their entire multifaceted self to the project, completely regardless of how algorithmically confusing it might be to a platform like YouTube.
Which brings us to the deeper layers of this channel, because the further down you scroll, the more beautifully eccentric and specific it gets. It's not just long-form meditations and ninja rap.
Oh, there is so much more.
There is smoky jazz. There is a video literally called Vintage 1950s Lounge Retro Beauty Wine and Classic Boom Bap Instrumental Living Room Vibes. There's a track called Soft Now, a smoky jazz X spoken word X soul fusion.
The variety is staggering.
And then, sitting among all of this, is the deep psychology. They have an entire 40-minute lyrical album titled The Shadow Tree Jung X Freya Lyrical Album, a mytho-psychological journey through the shadows.
The inclusion of Carl Jung is a fascinating key to understanding the depth of the whole project.
Tell me more about that connection.
Well, Jungian psychology focuses heavily on integrating the conscious and unconscious mind. A major part of that process is what Jung called shadow work, which is the process of acknowledging the darker, hidden, or suppressed parts of the psyche.
The stuff we usually try to ignore.
Exactly. Instead of just pretending you're always a positive person, shadow work is about actively sitting down with your own suppressed traits, like your anger, your jealousy, your selfishness, and figuring out how they drive your behavior.
So it's not just surface-level aesthetic.
Not at all. By explicitly crossing Carl Jung's concepts with Norse mythology, the channel is treating the mythic underworlds and the gods not just as cool aesthetic choices, but as tangible psychological tools. A video titled Self versus Ego Mythic Instrumental Journey Through Identity, Shadow, and SpiritMind Awakening makes it abundantly clear that this channel is designed as a tool for deep, personal introspection.
I just love the juxtaposition that you can do heavy, emotionally taxing, Jungian shadow work and then immediately celebrate the holidays with them.
The holiday album is a great touch.
Because yes, the Sisters of Freya have a Christmas album, a full 12-track Christmas album to be exact. And the track names are so deeply, specifically tailored to their own internal lore. You have 9 Nights of Yule, The Yule Hunt of Odin's Daughter, and easily my favorite title, The Warmth of Freya's Cats.
Which is very mythologically accurate.
It is. If you know your Norse mythology, it actually makes perfect sense, since the goddess Freya's chariot is famously pulled by 2 large cats. But just seeing that title in a list of YouTube videos is charming. You have Fylkvanger at First Snow and Brisingamen in Winter Moonlight.
It is charming, and we should also note the view counts on that Christmas album because it adds a layer of poignancy to the whole endeavor. Brisingamen in Winter Moonlight currently sits at 0 views.
Wow, 0.
The Rebirth of the Sun has 3 views. Sigrun's Shield of Life has 3 views. Album Introduction has 2 views.
It's almost heartbreaking, but also strangely beautiful. It's like they've decorated this elaborate, gorgeous house for the holidays, lit all the candles, and left the front door open, perfectly content even if no one actually walks in.
That's a great way to put it.
But wait, because we have to talk about the absolute wildest curveball on the entire channel page. We've had Jungian psychology, we've had mythic cats, we've had ninja rap and sleep science, but scrolling through all of this, here's where it gets really interesting.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Nestled right in the middle of these timeless mythic videos is a 6-minute video titled Sisters of Freya News Briefing, AI, Robotics and Advanced Science, January 27, 2026.
It is incredibly jarring to see that title amidst the Norse gods and 1950s lounge jazz, but it speaks directly to the sheer scope of the world building happening here.
It's completely out of left field.
It is, but the creator of this channel isn't just making music or putting together a few themed playlists. They are constructing a complete alternate reality. In this specific universe, the Sisters of Freya aren't just mythical figures of the distant past. They are broadcasting from the future, or a futuristic present, reporting on artificial intelligence and advanced robotics.
That is wild.
It aligns with titles we see elsewhere on the page, like Eternal Valkyrie's new beat series, Air Goddess of Healing and Recovery in a Futuristic Studio, or that earlier mention of Seiðr Circuitry.
It's literally cyberpunk meets the Poetic Edda. And for those who might not know, the Poetic Edda is the 13th century source text for almost all the Norse mythology we have today. To take that ancient text and project it into a futuristic news briefing about robotics in 2026 is just such a wildly creative leap.
It absolutely is. When you synthesize this massive variety, the 380 videos, the 100 subscribers, the view counts that hover between 0 and maybe 100 on a really good day, it paints a very specific picture.
A picture of dedication.
Yes. The view counts are incredibly low, which suggests a profound labor of love rather than a business venture. The creator is building a highly specific, idiosyncratic universe. In Norse myth, Folkvanger is the idyllic field ruled over by the goddess Freya, where half of those that die in combat go to rest.
Right, kind of the alternative to Valhalla.
Exactly. This channel is effectively a digital Folkvanger. It's a sanctuary, built not to appease the YouTube algorithm, not to maximize watch time or optimize click-through rates, but to express a purely authentic, multifaceted identity.
To wrap all this up, so what does this all mean? For me, the Sisters of Freya channel is an absolute masterclass in ignoring mainstream niches. We are taught constantly that to succeed online, you have to be one thing. You have to be the 1950s jazz person or the workout mix person.
You have to build a brand.
Exactly, a single brand. But this channel proves that in the modern digital age, you can seamlessly blend 528 Hz sleep science, 1950s lounge jazz, Carl Jung, 100-bar rap barrages, and futuristic AI news briefings into one cohesive, if wonderfully eccentric, Shieldmaiden persona. You don't have to chop yourself up into little digestible pieces for the internet. You could just be the whole weird, beautiful Venn diagram.
And that is exactly why this matters to you, the listener. We all suffer from information overload and modern burnout. We are constantly bombarded by content that is hyper-optimized by algorithms to hijack our attention, content that usually leaves us feeling drained and disconnected.
And then we try to fix it with more content.
Right. We often look for relief in generic mindfulness apps or sterile corporate wellness playlists. But maybe the real antidote to modern burnout isn't something generic. Maybe the antidote is finding or even creating a digital space that perfectly aligns with all of your weird, contradicting interests.
I love that idea.
Maybe healing means embracing the fact that you need a 10-hour Canadian wilderness sleepscape on Tuesday and a boom-bap mythic ninja rap beat on Wednesday, and using that exact combination to, as the channel says, restore your inner light.
It's about finding your specific frequency. Literally. They even have a 10-second short on the channel simply called Find Your Frequency. It's an open invitation to step into a space that makes sense to you, even if it makes absolutely zero sense to the algorithm.
Before we sign off, this raises an important question. We just spent this deep dive looking at a massive archive of 380 highly produced, deeply personal videos that almost no one is watching. In an internet culture that is entirely driven by viral metrics, view counts, and the desperate pursuit of massive audiences, is there actually something more sacred and perhaps more protective about creating art entirely for yourself?
It's a powerful thought.
This channel is a tiny, quiet fellowship for tired warriors, and its smallness might be exactly what keeps it safe. What kind of sanctuary would you build if you knew the algorithm wasn't watching? If the only metric for success was the peace it brought to your own soul?